Hello and welcome to a fresh new episode of Science Monitor, our weekly update on all that is happening in the field of science and technology in and around the country. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor with you. From home printable diagnostic kits to novel cholera vaccine and Asia's biggest telescope, there are many exciting stories in store. Let's first look at the headlines. Inkjet printers to develop paper-based diagnosis, out-of-the-box idea from IISc. Chanchol, the new cholera vaccine proved safe and efficacious. Solar scientists look forward to exciting discoveries with Asia's biggest telescope, MAST. We have in store a special story on World Breastfeeding Week, which for this year is themed Breastfeeding and Work, Let's Make It Work. And in our In Focus segment today, we will discuss about food allergies, their causes and cure. And now the news in detail. We all have used HP's inkjet printers, but how about using the common desktop printers to print medical test kits? Yes, the innovative idea from IISc researchers will now allow transformation of desktop inkjet printers into little factories that can create special paper diagnostics. Now, these paper strips can be used for various purposes, from testing blood sugar to detecting antibiotics and pesticides in food. Take a look.
Forget your glucometer. What if home-printed paper strips can be used to test your blood sugar? What if we could use a piece of paper as a swab on the skin of the vegetable to check for pesticides? True that most of the diagnostic tools we know are complicated, but the world is shifting fast towards paper electronics. And what more could you ask for if these paper-based diagnostic tools can be printed even at home? Yes, using your normal HP inkjet printers. The technology has been developed by Dr. Venugopal Santhanam, Assistant Professor of Nanoparticle Engineering, and his team at the Indian Institute of Science. The innovation combines green chemistry with black and white photography and simple inkjet printing to print nanoparticles and microfluid structures on paper. The process is simple and involves filling up empty HP cartridges with desired concentration of salt solutions, which mainly consists potassium bromide and silver nitrate. The reaction that occurs inside the cartridges helps deposit desired patterns accurately on paper using a standard computer interface within seconds.
We have used a office desktop inkjet printer, converted it into print just by replacing the ink provided by the manufacturer with our own solutions of silver salt and bromide salt. We have managed to deposit silver bromide patterns on paper, and using the photographic principles, we have exposed it to light from a halogen lamp and developed it and generated conducting structures on paper, demonstrations of which we have already seen.
The paper, when dipped in a developing solution and exposed to light, are ready with circuits of silver bromide on it. The research that has been published in the journal Current Science offers immense scope for developing novel biodiagnostic devices. The silver nanowire networks printed on paper can be used to detect gas leaks in factories, make use and throw diagnostic kits for measuring blood sugar levels, and even make Raman sensors to detect toxic chemicals. With this low-cost and environment-friendly technology, the day is not far when we could print our own diagnostic kits on our desktops and send the results electronically instead of waiting in long queues in clinics.
Cholera, a dreaded endemic in many parts of the developing world. Depleting the patients of electrolytes and water, cholera can even kill. While healthcare experts across the world struggle to manage the threat of cholera, Chanchol could be a new hope. Well, the new cholera vaccine, Chanchol, developed in India, has proved safe and efficacious in the large field trials conducted in cholera-prevalent regions of Dhaka in Bangladesh. More in this report.
Cholera, the waterborne diarrheal illness caused by strains of the pathogen of Vibrio cholera. An endemic of developing nations, the disease is known to claim about 20,256 lives annually in India. According to estimates, at least 41 crore 17 lakh 175 Indians are presently at risk of contracting cholera. A frightening statistics that calls for urgent preventive measures. Now an encouraging news in this context. The new oral cholera vaccine, Chanchol, has tested positive in terms of safety and efficacy. Chanchol, manufactured by the Hyderabad-based Shantha Biotechnics Private Limited, a Sanofi company, have been proved safe in a large-scale field trial that was conducted in Dhaka, Bangladesh. The field trial involved 94,675 people from cholera endemic regions who were followed up for 2 years. It was observed that while people in the vaccine group who got one dose of the vaccine showed 37% overall protection against cholera, the level of protection increased to 53% in those who got the full regimen of 2 vaccine doses, given at an interval of at least 14 days. Prior to testing the safety and efficacy in real-life conditions in Dhaka, the vaccine was also laboratory tested for its action in Kolkata by a team of researchers from National Institute of Cholera and Enteric Diseases. The results of the field trials conclude that Chanchol has the ability to confer protection even in a highly mobile, high-risk urban population and across all ages. The vaccine can be given to children aged 1 year and above. Once adopted as a routine in healthcare after completing clinical trials, the vaccine will provide new hope towards eradicating cholera from high-risk countries like Bangladesh and India.
India is fast becoming a superpower in space and astronomical studies. Equipped with the most modern technology, Indian researchers are set to seek answers to many of the unanswered questions pertaining to the universe. Added recently to the league was Asia's biggest telescope, MAST, or the Multi-Application Solar Telescope. Well, this telescope installed at Udaipur Solar Observatory will henceforth aid researchers in furthering their understanding about Sun and the solar system.
The science of astronomy did take a large leap forward when Galileo created the first telescope in 1609. Over the centuries, technology has evolved, and today, telescopes come in many varieties, including optical, infrared and radio telescopes. Now taking another bound forward, India has installed Asia's biggest telescope. The Multi-Application Solar Telescope, or MAST in short, was inaugurated at the Udaipur Solar Observatory by the chairman of Physical Research Laboratory, Professor U.R. Rao. The telescope, installed under the Ministry of Science and Technology and funded by Department of Space, is Asia's biggest telescope and comes with a glass of 50 centimeters diameter. The telescope is based on the mechanical and optical system of Belgium, whose rear part was developed by the observatory and its front was developed by ISRO. MAST was designed in 2004. Until 2008, the optical elements were added to it, which were later installed at the observatory in 2012. According to experts, the telescope will enable solar astronomers study the movements of stars and sun, even in the daytime, understand sun's magnetic field, and gather 3D images of sun's atmosphere, including solar blast and solar flares. The telescope was installed at Udaipur's Solar Observatory as it is surrounded by water. Located 300 meters above the sea level, the temperature at Udaipur's Solar Observatory remains agreeable and turbulence in the air helps in giving stability to the study. equipped with MAST. Researchers of the country aspire to unravel the many mysteries that surround Sun's atmosphere.
That mother's milk is best for the baby. In addition to containing all the vitamins and nutrients, mother's milk is rich in disease-fighting antibodies that protect young children from infections. Well, to raise awareness regarding the importance of breastfeeding, the first week of August every year is celebrated as the World Breastfeeding Week, now focusing on working mothers and aiming to synergize a global action to support women to combine breastfeeding and work. This year's theme is Breastfeeding and Work, Let's Make It Work. Let us see this special report.
What could be best for a baby than mother's milk? Easy to digest and packed with nutrients, pediatricians across the world recommends exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months of babies. Not only does breast milk provide the necessary nutrition, but it is packed with antibodies that build the child's immunity and protect them from a long list of infections. The joy of motherhood and the right of a child to be breastfed is celebrated across the world during the first week of August every year in the form of World Breastfeeding Week. While breastfeeding is a common practice worldwide, changing lifestyles and women engaging in careers has largely affected how new mothers feed their infants. With work environments becoming rigid and formal, more women find difficult to attend to the feeding needs of newborn babies. Addressing this concern, the World Alliance for Breastfeeding Action, or WABA or WABA, themed the World Breastfeeding Week this year as Breastfeeding and Work, Let's Make It Work. The theme focuses on the breastfeeding right of mothers and infants across the world. The massive campaign aimed at creating awareness regarding the benefits of breastfeeding and synergizing global support to facilitate practices that enable women working in formal and non-formal settings to breastfeed their babies. The theme also has special significance as this year marks the 25th anniversary of the Innocenti Declaration of 1990, which is the guiding document for improving breastfeeding practices worldwide. In an effort to promote longer breastfeeding, leading organization has pledged to install 500 lactation booths across the country. In quickly developing countries like India, rapidly changing work environment, reversing gender roles, lack of awareness and many myths has led to large-scale substitution of breast milk with baby food products and instant formulations. As a result, annually 16.5 lakh children succumb to infections which can be easily prevented through breastfeeding in the first 6 months. While mother's milk is a child's first vaccination, breastfeeding also has several emotional and physical benefits for the mother. While breastfeeding protects the babies, it also reduces the risk of ovarian cancer, premenopausal breast cancer, and osteoporosis. Motherhood is the most beautiful phase of a woman's life. Let breastfeeding be a part of it. After all, every baby deserves a healthy start.
And now it is time to take a short break. We'll be right back with more science news. Keep watching Science Monitor. Welcome back after the break. You're watching Science Monitor. Let us now have a look at some important science and technology activities happening in India and abroad in our next segment, Science Express.
Agreeing to cooperate on the area of renewable energy. India and Mozambique have recently signed a memorandum of understanding. The MOU that aims to promote cooperation between both the nations for sustainable development was signed by India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President of Mozambique, Filipe Jacinto Nyusi. On this occasion, discussions were also carried out towards intensifying cooperation in the areas of maritime security and ocean economy. owning a personal drone will soon be reality. The declaration was made by the Indian origin scientist Dr. Parimal Kopadekar, manager of NASA's Safe Autonomous System Operations project at Ames Research Center during a conference on unmanned aerial systems traffic management hosted by NASA and the Silicon Valley chapter of the Association of Unmanned Vehicle Systems International last week. According to Dr. Kopadekar, in 5 to 10 years from now, drones will become common in households and these unmanned aircraft will be routinely used for goods delivery, infrastructure inspection, search and rescue, and agricultural monitoring. In a step towards developing novel methods of mapping natural resources and monitoring climate changes, ISRO and NASA are now working together in the new NASA-ISRO Synthetic Aperture Radar mission. The mission, shortly known as NISAR, aims to co-develop and launch a dual-frequency synthetic aperture radar satellite. In this joint mission, while NASA will design and develop the L-band SAR 12-meter unfurlable antenna, GPS system and data recorder for the mission, ISRO is responsible for the design and development of S-band SAR, spacecraft bus, data transmission system, spacecraft integration and testing, launch using GSLV and on-orbit operations. In order to improve the availability, disease resistance and nutritional quality of bananas, Bhabha Atomic Research Center is conducting studies to develop genetically modified iron biofortified banana. While the bananas will be rich in iron, the other advantages include its vitamin A content and fungal and viral disease resistance. According to reports, these GM bananas under development by BARC will be available to general public after completion of trial and government's approval. While the country is reeling under heat waves, the latest Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change Report 2014 highlights that all India mean temperature has risen nearly around 0.6 Celsius over the last 110 years. This is in line with the rise in mean surface temperature of the globe that has risen by 0.850 to 0.180 Celsius. According to reports, data on daily maximum temperature, data of 103 stations for the period 1961 to 2010 shows that many areas of the country have experienced more than 8 heatwave days on an average per season in the past year. States like Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Odisha, Punjab, Uttar Pradesh and Bihar have also suffered heatwave or sunstroke-related deaths during the year.
Itchy mouth, swollen tongue, rashes and wheezing. Often the first symptoms to appear if you are allergic to a specific food. While for a long time, food allergies were considered to affect only the Western population, many cases of food allergies have emerged in the country in recent years. Without proper understanding, management of food allergies are difficult and can be, in rare cases, fatal too. Hence, in our next segment, we will focus on food allergies, their causes and management.
It is a pleasant monsoon evening, and you decide to take out your family and friends for a sumptuous dinner. There is a variety of food served on the table, but no longer than few minutes after the dinner starts, that one of the kids starts breaking out into rashes and experience wheezing. Once rushed to the hospital, the child is most likely to be diagnosed with food allergy. While 25% of Indian population is known to suffer from this condition called food allergy, with children at particularly high risk, the severity of the problem is as high as 40% in the West. While most of the food allergies are not life-threatening, beware. Cases have been reported where certain allergic reactions to food can be fatal. Physicians define food allergy as an abnormal immune response to food. The immune system is responsible for identifying external pathogens and terminating them before they cause infection. Sometimes, certain proteins in the food we consume are recognized as harmful pathogens by the body's immune mechanism. Under such conditions, the immune cells start producing a special type of antibody called immunoglobulin E or IgE to identify the allergenic proteins and initiate the allergic reaction.
Among 1.5 lakhs, there are 5,000 proteins which are allergenic in nature. Now, these proteins may be present in the environment in the form of the pollens, fungi, dust mite or certain insect excreta, or it may be present in the food also, or it may be present in some contactant also. So, food is there which is one of the commonest which is responsible for allergenic in nature, because there are many foods which has got a IgE binding sites. If a food is having a more IgE binding sites, that is called epitopes, that is more allergenic.
In response to this, tissues in different parts of the body release chemicals like histamine that causes the airways to tighten and leads to other symptoms. This type of reaction is quick and develops within minutes of exposure to allergic food. In certain cases, the immune response may not involve immunoglobulin E and may occur some hours after eating. Now, the natural question that must be arising in your mind is how to identify a food allergy. There is a checklist of symptoms to watch out for, especially if they develop quickly after eating. These symptoms include itching of mouth or swollen tongue, itchy skin rashes or eczema commonly known as hives, tight hoarse throat and trouble in breathing and swallowing, wheezing and repetitive cough, runny nose, swelling of face around eyes and lips, pale or blue coloring of skin, dizziness and nausea, vomiting, diarrhea or abdominal cramps and pain, drop in blood pressure. The most serious and often deadly symptom to watch out for is anaphylaxis, the condition that affects the whole body within minutes, impairs breathing and sends the body into shock. Most food-related symptoms occur within 2 hours of ingestion and often they start within minutes. Delayed reactions by 4 to 6 hours are rare and most typically seen in children. And now, if you thought that such allergies are genetic, these allergies can develop at any age and stage of life. Food allergies are generally diagnosed using skin prick tests, patch tests and blood tests, and treated using medications like steroids, epinephrine and antihistamines. The best and safest way to prevent food allergy is to avoid the allergy-causing food or allergens. In children, this might commonly include milk, eggs and peanuts, while adults are more prone to raw fruits and vegetables, soy, wheat, peanuts and tree nuts like almonds and walnuts, seafood such as shellfish, lobster, etc. In India, allergy has been reported for brinjal, cucumber, lady's finger and papaya, along with food additives such as Ajinomoto and seeds like mustard and sesame. Forget about eating. Cases are reported where even indirect contact with peanut shells or other allergens can result in extreme reactions. Hence, while it is important for allergic individuals to maintain strict diet, most important under such situations is to seek immediate medical help. Self-medication can lead to more complications. According to statistics, food allergies cause roughly 30,000 emergency treatments and 100 to 200 deaths per year in the nation. So, the next time you play the role of a gracious host, it might do well to gather information about the allergies which your guests may be prone to. This knowledge may save a life.
Well, that is all for this episode of Science Monitor. Do tell us how do you like our program. You can send your feedback and suggestions to us. Our email ID is news@vigyanprasar.gov.in. You can also write in to us at Vigyan Prasar, C24, Qutub Institutional Area, New Delhi 110016. Well, that is all for today. We'll be back with fresh news stories on science and technology again next week. Till then, stay tuned to Rajya Sabha TV and think scientific. Bye-bye.